When you're solving, sorry about that. When you're solving compound inequalities, there are two basic types, the AND compound inequality and the OR compound inequality. In this video, I'm going to talk about the AND compound inequality. To solve, there are three basic steps. First, you've got to make sure that you have your two inequalities separated. Then you have to solve each one. Last, you have to find a way to communicate your solutions. There are three ways you could communicate your solutions. You could draw a number line and shade the solution set. You could also write your answers in interval notation or set notation. Here's an example of an AND compound inequality. Notice that there are two inequality signs, and we can't solve those simultaneously, so we're going to separate this out into two different inequalities. We're going to take this shared expression, 2x minus 2, and pair it with the values on the left and on the right of the compound inequality. So here are the two problems that we need to solve. To solve these, which is step number 2, you follow the steps you would use to solve an equation. Do to one side of your problem what you do to the other. Use inverse operations to isolate your variable, and simplify at each step as often as possible. In the last video, we discussed an additional rule for inequalities. If you multiply or divide by a negative, you've got to reverse the inequality sign. That does not apply here, so we're going to move on. So we have our solutions. Our x's have to be less than 30, or I'm sorry, greater than 30. And our x's have to be less than 6. The solutions are going to have to make the entire statement true. Therefore, the solutions are the values that work, that are in this interval. One way to communicate the solution set is drawing a number line. And I would always suggest you do this first, even if your intention is to write your answer in interval or set notation, because it will make it easier for you to clarify what the solution set really looks like. We can see that 3 and 6 are not included in the solution set, so I'm just going to circle them. There's no need to put an actual point there. And then our x's are everything bigger than 3 and less than 6. Now it has to meet both criteria, so it's only the numbers within this interval. So now that we have a clear understanding of what the solutions are, let's write our answers in interval notation. In an interval, you've got to show the reference solution. So we're going from 3 up to 6. It looks like coordinates, but it's not. And we're going to use the curved brackets because these values are not included in the solution set. If they were, I would use a more squared bracket. And if you have more questions about interval notation, I have a separate video on that topic. Now let's also look at how to communicate the set using set notation. Our solutions are x's such that they are between 3 and 6. So here's how you would write that answer in set notation. So here you've got 3 different ways that you could communicate your answers using a number line. interval notation or set notation. And if you have questions about either of those notations, I do have separate videos